Have you watched SC football at all?
No, but they are literally playing high school teams, it seems.
Exactly. We are playing 8-year-old Girl Scouts, and then the game after that, we played some senior citizen nuns. I don't know. Do they think they're fooling anybody? That they're good?
Could you back off the sexism a little bit? 8-year-old Girl Scouts, elderly nuns.
People who are not necessarily great at playing football against a college team.
By the way, I don't know if I'd square off against the elderly nuns. Having spent 3 years.
They can be resourceful. They can be resourceful.
Oh, yeah. Look at those rulers. Hurts like hell. Texas played San Jose State.
Yeah.
And then they blew them out of the water and were very excited. I'm like,
of course they did.
Of course you did.
In some ways, you look at that and go, you should have beaten them by more.
Yeah. Well, how much did you pay them, right? It was your home opener. And my understanding is on these home openers, typically you're paying them to come let you beat them up.
It's show business. You're just trying to pretend like you're a much better team than you are.
But it's not supposed to be show business. It's supposed to be competitive football, but it's become show business.
No one's fooled.
I think a bunch of people are fooled. I think a bunch of people know the inner workings of this.
Quiet, please.
But I'm excited about next week's game because they're playing that D1 team from the Helen Keller School for the Blind, and I think they're gonna do great.
In 4, 3,
I'm in for that.
2.
The Alpha Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 3, Episode 48. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stu Little.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, beyond smog, the hidden link between air pollution and dementia.
Happy shows, Jeff. We need to do a happy show just one time.
AI's new enemy, why the MAGA right is breaking up with big tech.
This makes total sense because code and transistors are way too logical.
Anthropic's victory is a copyright loss for writers.
But potentially a huge win for humanity.
Says you. Also, our big story later this week is about the unheard conversations that won the Cold War.
Wait, if we didn't hear them, like if a conversation isn't heard.
It's California Admission Day.
Forget it.
On September 9th, 1850, the Golden State was born. Forged in the fire of the gold rush, California joined the Union as the 31st state, a free state, a land of immense promise on the Pacific coast. From rugged pioneers to modern innovators, our spirit has always been one of bold ambition and relentless optimism.
There is a little asterisk on this. I mean,
Indians.
While you can certainly argue, and I think successfully, that California helped light the fuse for the Civil War because we were the first sort of free state that was
certainly one of 4 states.
Yeah, that didn't have a slave pair, so we started to shift the balance, which is lovely. For like the first 15 years of our existence, we still had like indentured servitude from Native Americans. So like,
right? I mean,
we weren't great, but we were better. We just weren't great.
Well, the Native Americans were eating the buffalo, so they weren't wonderful either. California's economy is the largest of any U.S. state, and if it were an independent country, it would be the world's 4th largest economy, ahead of countries like Germany and Japan.
That is just always mind-bending.
Oh, yeah.
I know this stat. I've been to those places. It still breaks my brain that we are bigger than Germany and Japan.
California's economy is massive. As the most populous state in the U.S., 1 in 8 Americans lives in California.
All the fun ones.
And they're all still represented by just 2 senators.
Yep, that's all you get.
Absolutely ridiculous. The state's fields and orchards yield an incredible diversity of crops and produce, more than half of the country's vegetables and fruits.
That's amazing. It's amazing that half of that produce that we consume in this country comes from basically the Central Valley.
The internet, the entire internet started 3 miles from where I'm sitting right now at UCLA.
The midpoint between my house and your house.
Absolutely amazing that came out of UCLA and it is used around the world.
Yeah.
I still feel like we could ball it up, throw it away, use what we've learned and make a way better system.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is why the internet goes down often, is because it came from UCLA.
California is the largest economy in the world to be powered by 2/3 clean energy, and for some parts of the day has been powered by 100% clean energy.
That's that new PepsiCo product, the Crystal Coal. That's the clean stuff, right?
Pretty sure that's it, yeah. I was happy to read that along with Washington and Oregon, California is stepping up with its own vaccination recommendations because of the CDC falling apart. We need to do our own employment and inflation numbers as well.
Is the California vaccine recommendation to not take them?
No.
Oh, no, wait. No, that's the other.
It's a science-based community out here on the coast.
Weird.
We like science.
Does that even work? I don't know.
I am so beside myself with what's going on in the U.S. that I'm really more than admission day. I'm looking forward to California exit day. The rest of the country doesn't like us. Fine. Let's all go our own ways.
That's a big border we got to patrol.
And we'll patrol it vigilantly.
Although I do think we'd have a California passport would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm in.
How is your week going, sir?
You know, most of my weeks are littered with some form of science or another. This week is going to be an especially fun one because I get to punch that golden ticket that everybody gets to your entry into middle-agedness.
You have reached that age.
I have reached that age where you are now old enough to to start looking at all the parts you've been abusing for decades. That's sort of the world that I'm in.
Yeah.
So I have my my colonoscopy tomorrow, which means I'm grumpy.
Oh, congratulations.
And I haven't eaten today. Anyway, that's a fun prep for the moment. I'm an experienced faster, so I'm not too worried about this. It's relatively easy, but always the first couple days of the hardest.
Why are you an experienced faster?
Mainly because I on very poor advice, would abuse my body in my 20s. I remember fasting, like I do like 7-day fasts, and I was like, oh, after my third one, I was like, this is easy. I wonder how long I can go.
Oh my.
And that was the premise for not eating food for like 32 days.
And why would you do that?
Just to see if I could. It was literally just to see if I could. And I could. But then like muscle started melting off me, and I was like, oh, this is probably a bad idea.
Of course.
This is probably a bad idea. I've made lots of terrible decisions. But here's the thing, and especially then, but even now, even for a couple of days, what I miss the most of the process is cooking, because I love to cook. It's such a huge part of my life that when I'm fasting, I mean, I'll still cook, but like it's just, I'm like, this isn't fun. And like earlier today, I walked by one of my big green eggs, and I swear it looked at me with like a little tear in its eye. And it was like, you used to love me. Anyway.
You used to.
He'll get over it. So colonoscopy it is. Hopefully we find nothing of interest.
Do you look at the big green egg and just say, one more day, sweetheart, you and I are back in business?
We'll be together again soon. I miss you.
You write letters back and forth. It's like
we will write little letters back and forth. Yeah, they are love letters soaked in beef tallow. I'm going to get through it. Everyone is like, oh, what a bad day. I'm like,
it's painless. It's fine.
This is the worst day of my year. It's a pretty good year.
Yeah.
It's really not a big deal.
And the stuff they can discover and the troubles they can save you from, totally worthwhile.
I did ask my doc if he could keep me awake, and he said, why? And I said, because I want to drive the camera. And he then looked at me like I was an idiot. So,
well, you kind of are.
Well, we've all ended up in the same place now, haven't we?
Do they do colonoscopies with people like semi-awake or awake?
To my knowledge, no. I think it's mainly a muscle relaxation problem. I mean, if you think about how important the muscle of your sphincter is, your rectum is, my hunch is they don't want you to be fighting the input when it's mainly an output device. I mean, plenty of people do. Anyway, how about you? How's your week? Is your week better or worse than mine so far?
So far, if that's your week, my week is better.
Yeah.
I helped a friend who had horrible Wi-Fi in her very large house.
Bad case of the Wi-Fi's?
Yeah, and I think most everyone I know has bad Wi-Fi in their house if they have a large enough house.
Sure.
If you can cover your house with one router, you probably have fine Wi-Fi.
Sure.
But in this case, it was like she had this mesh network set up, and it was very expensive, little nodes to this silly Wi-Fi mesh network. By the way, mesh networks work great for things like Thread. They do not work good retrofitted onto Wi-Fi, or at least we haven't figured out a way to make them work particularly well. And so we just replaced all of her mesh network nodes with access points.
Yeah.
She had perfectly good Ethernet cable all over the place.
Yeah.
And now Wi-Fi is solid as a rock.
Yeah.
So I just want to say to the listeners, if you're having trouble with your Wi-Fi, the secret to great Wi-Fi is wire.
Is wire. Funny how that works.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really the best answer. You want really good access points that you can reach and have them at a reasonable pace around your entire premises. You'll be fine.
Which made me go around the house with my phone after updating all of her stuff.
Find all your dark spots?
It's not that I have dark spots. I don't have any dark spots. I do have older access points.
Place them all.
I have one that's actually Wi-Fi 4.
Wow. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It won't be tomorrow. It'll be Wi-Fi 7.
By the way, great on you. I do fall into this trap. Every time I go to like upgrade my access points, I'm like, or just wait a year for the better ones to come out. Like I need some other input. Like I need like my kids to break one with a Nerf gun.
Sure.
Like, and then that will get me across the line, because what I have now is fine. But I also have another unique problem, which is that, as you well know, I have the Smithsonian of old Wi-Fi devices here that are still connected, which render a lot of the new features useless. So it kind of
let them go. Let them go. It's just time to throw those things out.
There's a couple old Wi-Fi stack devices that I just kind of got to the like, I'm going to decom you point. So the
prices have really come down for access points too.
Oh, totally.
Wi-Fi 7.
It's great. Fantastic.
Shall we get to our headlines?
I'm in.
Breathe at your own risk. Study connects air pollution to dementia. A study of over 56 million people has established a direct link between long-term exposure to PM 2.5, tiny particulate matter with a diameter of 2.5 micrometers or less, and an increased risk in developing Lewy body dementia, the third most common type of dementia. The research shows that while PM 2.5 exposure doesn't necessarily cause the condition outright, it significantly accelerates its development in people who are already genetically predisposed. The study also found that PM 2.5 can cause the buildup of Lewy bodies, clumps of alpha-synuclein proteins in the brain, which leads to nerve cell death.
So they did this in mice. They basically had mice take little hits of of PM 2.5 through their nostrils like a couple times a day, which doesn't sound like a great gig.
By the way, when we have fires in LA, our particulate matter is much larger than 2.5 micrometers.
Yeah, I think the larger is actually better. I think you've got a better chance of filtering it out as a body, I think. I don't know. I'm certainly no expert in this.
Yeah.
But it's like the little stuff is really bad. You find markings of this in people's bodies and you're like, oh, this is not good. We're not clear that it's causation versus correlation, right? They're clear in the article to say, hey, this isn't clearly showing that it causes, but they're pretty confident that it certainly helps you.
It accelerates the development is what they said. Someone who's predisposed to it, this is going to accelerate their decline.
Yeah. So this is not great. And then these alpha-synucleins, these clumps of proteins in your brain are just net bad. Like this is not what you want.
The good news is we know how to fix this.
We do.
This is not hard for us to fix.
Yeah.
Get rid of the pollution.
Well,
stop polluting.
Yeah.
Bigger penalties for companies who pollute.
Well, yeah.
This is fixable.
Yeah.
I fit right in California, don't I?
Just fit right in, you hippie. The problem is I also, I greatly dislike the buildup of the alpha-synucleins in my brain because those aren't great. I really love coal.
Do you?
And it's
You're a big fan
hard.
of coal,
yeah,
are you?
I'm a big fan of coal.
Barbecue with it? Is that what you do?
Somebody was telling me about they were so proud that they could charge their EV at home and they never have to go to the gas station. I was like, I have an oil well in back. I just pump my own gas. And they looked at me and they went, really? And I went, no, I don't. Who does
in California, although you wouldn't have the refinery, you really could have your own oil well.
Yeah. Only if you're a middle school in Beverly Hills. Then you certainly can.
Drive to the airport on La Cienega and there's just oil derricks everywhere.
The good news is we are generally, in some places like, California, that trend line is down and to the right, which is great. That's what you want, right? And this is why I think whenever people complain about CARB, I'm like, but I really like having clean air I can breathe.
I like not getting Lewy body dementia. I'm kind of a fan of not having that accelerate in my body.
Would like to avoid that. The problem is then if you have to have a catalytic converter in your car, it's taking away my 28th Amendment right to polluting the world.
Is that the 28th Amendment?
Yeah,
I missed some of those later
converters.
rights.
Yeah, no catalytic converters was the four founders really saw a world where you could run straight pipe and no catalytic converters on your cars.
Is that right?
That's how it's been told to me.
Which one of the forefathers was driving the internal combustion engine car?
Stu.
Stu?
Yeah, Stu Garrett. Stu was the big...
I don't remember his name on the Declaration of Independence.
Well, they ran out of room at the bottom. It's signed on the back. A lot of people don't see it, but it's on
because you don't see because they don't ever copy the back. Yeah.
They never copy the back. They just copy the front. Also, it says on the back, just kidding about the guns thing, but hey, whatever.
Wow.
There's a lot back there that they don't want you to unpack.
We should probably Xerox the back every now and again.
Their data showed that long-term PM 2.5 exposure was associated with a 12% increased risk of hospitalization from severe dementia with Lewy bodies. That's not great odds.
No, that's awful.
And part of the problem is your PM 2.5 exposure is going to be relatively linked to high density areas where you have more people. It's not clearly that. It's not just that.
Who is fighting against getting rid of this type of pollution in the world?
Free business. You're restricting business. You're pushing business out. CARB. When I search for what generates 2.5, the first link I get is CARB.
Burning fossil fuels, gasoline, diesel oil, and coal for motor vehicles makes it.
That's my understanding. That's a big part of it.
So let's improve our air quality.
Well,
these are all things we can work on. These are all things we can figure out.
I don't know what effort other states make in this, but just having been familiar and read a decent amount about CARB, California Air Resource Board, they do quite a bit of work. I think have been a leader in the country for the past at least 40 years of trying to make our air better here, especially as our population grows.
NatCon 5, where the right declared holy war on AI at the annual National Conservatism Conference, a deep schism emerged between the tech right and MAGA populists. While they briefly united to get Trump into office, the conference revealed a profound distrust of technology and AI among the populist faction. A key moment occurred when a psychology professor publicly berated a Palantir CTO, labeling the AI industry as global, secular, liberal, feminized, transhumanists. Okay, I'm going to stop here for just 1 second because the word transhumanist, I had to look this up.
Yeah.
Advocates for the use of science and technology to fundamentally enhance the human condition, rooted in the belief that we can and should transcend our biological limitations, such as aging, disease, and cognitive constraints. Things like, say, polluting PM 2.5.
This is just fascinating to me, this whole story. No.
Yeah.
I just have to take a deep breath because I look at this and I'm like, I think that science is a good thing. I think this is actually what we were trying to
100%.
do. So we don't all have a, life expectancy of 38. Like I think we were looking to get past that. And then also I always love the folks that are saying, these things are terrible and they have their list. I'm like, but you benefit from the majority of those things.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Globalist. Fantastic. I think that's super important.
Yeah.
In a world with nuclear weapons, super fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't preach strongly enough.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest is nonsense.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you want survival of the friendliest. Look at the dogs. They know how to do it. Globalism, family. Secular, fabulous. Liberal, wonderful. Feminized, absolutely. We females should be treated every bit as males. Equal pay.
I'd be okay with that.
Where's our ERA? Heck, how come that hasn't passed yet? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Transhumanist, great thing. I'm going to stamp approval on every single one of these words.
But I could argue that your stamp of approval is all, it's easy to say that it's all subjective. I'm saying the folks who say this, but you've benefited from science. You've benefited from these things.
That's very true.
Have you ever been, I don't know, sick? Have you ever had a pill? All of these things that have gotten us longer to where we are, so that who says this has the benefit of being able to say it was through the progress of science.
You people use cell phones? How about it? How many of you here have cell phones?
But unfortunately, I missed this. I was hoping to catch this particular session, but it was difficult for me to get to the Palantir CTO section because I was in the previous section that was all about cleaning your sheets, keeping them white.
The white sheets, whiter,
and how to build structures out of 4x4s in a cross-like configuration. So I wasn't able to make this one, is my point. I was hoping to, but I took copious notes on the keeping your sheets white.
Labeling the AI industry as globalist, secular, liberal, feminized, transhumanists, and calling for a holy war.
First of all, when you label them that, I'm like, wait, are you marketing for them?
I've never been so pro-AI. If any of this is true.
Totally. I love how that gets you over your hurdle of copyright infringement. You're like, oh yeah, this actually kind of makes sense. This kind of makes sense.
No, I'm not.
No, it's not that good.
This animosity fueled by fears over cultural erosion, family values, and the perceived hubris of tech creators overshadowed any potential benefits. Now, I'm with you on the hubris of tech creators. Not my thing. Family values, I don't know, really? Your guy, grab him by the pee? I'm not sure family values applies to any of you.
Only
you
when
have lost all standing to discuss family values. It's over. Cultural erosion, you're causing it.
They've revised their family values. It now says your third wife is the one you've got to keep. That's what it says now.
I'm sorry, I missed that. I didn't see the revision.
No, it's an asterisk. It's one of those little, it's like the double dagger footnote thing. It's down there.
You can't talk to me for 1 second about family values. You have no standing.
But you don't see us when we're alone, I think is the response.
Maybe. Hubris of tech creators. You win me on hubris of tech creators. I agree. I don't necessarily want to hear from...
Not all of them.
Just because you created data farm doesn't give you the right to have outsized voice in elections because you can write big checks.
It technically does give them the right. We actually currently
but it shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not saying it should, but it currently does.
The idea that money has a vote is such a horrible idea.
Each dollar gets to vote individually, apparently. I missed that part in the founding of the country, but apparently it's in there. It was interesting to see how this, this conference revealed this split, right, between the populist, MAGA-aligned right and the tech right.
Yeah.
This article said, quote, their brief alliance forged to get Trump elected has clearly fractured over fundamental ideological differences. And I read that and I go, well, yeah, if you F around, you're going to find out.
Sure.
Are you surprised? Like, really, you're surprised? I took the snake in because it was going to die, and I brought the snake back to life, and then the snake bit me, and I'm very confused by why this happened. It's still a snake!
Speakers, including high-profile Trump allies, portrayed AI as an existential threat to Western civilization, a sentiment that was met with widespread applause and made it clear that the alliance between these two groups is fractured. By the way, they were also upset about autocorrect.
I also found this quote fascinating. Apparently, AI is only going to take apart Western civilization.
Eastern civilization is fine. They're
fine.
great.
They're fine. And even the Southern civilizations are also fine because it's winter at the other time down there, apparently. You can't try to ascribe logic to any of this thinking because none of it applies.
I would love for these people to just think. Use your brains. You are benefiting from science, left and right. Where am I losing you?
I have extremely bad news for you. They are. This is it. This is the amount of processing power you're getting. The end. This whole conference had the very light smell of tires burning, and it was from them all thinking. That was the smell that's generated.
Wow. The right now views the tech industry's products and values as an inherent, unchangeable threat to their way of life, not just a political
Yes, finally, a quote that I can agree with. It is absolutely an inherent, unchangeable threat to their change of life.
Sure.
Because it allows you to now to get out of the bubble of the communication that has been handed down to you from the people around that you listen to, because now you can hear everybody.
Believing in things that you have no evidence of.
Yes.
Let's get away from that.
So yes, it is absolutely going to change that. And I would argue they forgot the last part of the statement, which is for the better.
Right.
It will make this all for the better.
AI wins the $1.5 billion payout that screws writers. A historic $1.5 billion settlement between Anthropic and 500,000 writers has been reached. It's a loss for authors and a victory for tech. While writers stand to receive a payout of at least $3,000, the lawsuit was not over the use of copyright material to train AI, a practice a federal judge has already deemed legal under fair use. Instead, the case focused on Anthropic's illegal downloading of books from shadow libraries to train its AI. The settlement prevents a trial and sets a precedent, even though the core issues of AI training on copyrighted material remain legally ambiguous and the subject of many ongoing lawsuits.
So there's a bunch to unpack here. The first part is, I'm not sure I'd call this a win for tech because you haven't actually resolved the usage issue.
You've now got one precedent.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got
other judges can hide behind should they need.
Well, yeah,
but
also the statement that it's ambiguous. It kind of isn't. It still is in my mind legally ambiguous. But in this particular judgment, what he said was not terribly ambiguous about usage. Was that he felt? Yeah. What's the judge's name? Alsop, I think. That he noted that, quote, the training use was fair use. The technology issue was among the most transformative many of us will see in our lifetimes. Yeah. We're still going to hash that out. That part's not done.
Well, the part about it being transformative is done. I think it is going to be very transformative. The part about it being what is fair use and what is not fair use, we're still going to work that out.
Yeah, that's I certainly want us to spend more time on this. I really would like us to get this right. That's not what this settlement is about. What this settlement was about is Anthropic, I'm going to say allegedly, but I think through fact of this settlement.
They settled the case.
They settled. So yeah.
Are you paying $1.5 billion for something you're saying you didn't do?
It seems kind of easy to connect those dots.
Shareholders might want to sue you if you are.
I feel like maybe this is a no contest plea, but I don't know.
They just raised like $13 billion. So this $1.5 billion settlement, this is nothing.
But the point is, they did something that was definitely not right, and they're paying for it. I would not call that a win for them. So at least there's a path through this.
Oh, no, because they're getting to pay for it after the fact.
Yeah, I know.
And they're not having to pay a large amount to each.
You can't unring that bell.
Yeah, you can't unring that bell.
There's no unringing of that bell. So that part is interesting to me. But we still got to figure out the bigger issue here.
This only applies, by the way, to authors who were within the class of the lawsuit.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody else who got violated, they can still sue all they want.
I think they did a pretty good job, though, of identifying who was in this class. So I think they covered most of the folks that were in this because they knew based on what was downloaded from the library. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there were a bunch of people that were missing. I think there were ones, as you're implying here, that opted out and said, no, I'm going to go on this my own. Okay, good luck.
They can.
See where you get.
It's expensive, but they can.
They Napstered a bunch of books to train their AI on, they being Anthropic. And this is the settlement for that to avoid a trial.
Preferred to steal its materials rather than pay for them.
Yeah, borrow. Read out loud. Well, yeah, so it'll be very curious to me to see, first of all, what the outcome of this whole, I don't even want to call it fair use because it might not end up under fair use. It may end up under some other categorization of licensing. But however this gets resolved, the ability to use content in AI models, will it be retroactive? Like what happened? What if it's more than this settlement or less? Like, I don't know, right? I'm sure it'll be a consideration.
The traditional number is not 3,000. The traditional number is up to 150,000
per infringement.
Quite a bit more.
Yeah. But I'm saying in a non-infringement world, in a licensed world, in a world of use. What does this look like? And who knows, right? We're so far away from even understanding what that looks like.
I am pro AI. I think AI should be able to use all the information in the world that they legally license ahead of the fact.
Yeah, but we don't have a licensing mechanism for this right now.
Ahead of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is where it's very hard for me to argue that there shouldn't be some compensation there. But my argument is we don't know what that looks like yet.
But make the deal before you use the information, before you shovel the information into your system.
Whatever the deals you make going forward, I think it's reasonable to be retroactive about that too. I don't think that will happen, but I think the retroactive deal will be carved out something separate, and then you'll have your go forward deal. I don't love that.
Yeah, I know. You make a go forward deal. You don't change the rules on people who are under rules that applied previously. We don't pull the carpet out of someone who has written a book before the AI rules change.
We do all the time. We do all the time.
But we shouldn't. Our law should be our law.
Well, you say that. I bet you a whole bunch of copyright holders would disagree with you vehemently about that statement.
By the way, it's so interesting the way movies do this. There was a big conversation this week, I don't know if you saw this, about how movies that you buy online, the word buy should be in quotes because you're not really...
Shouldn't even be the word, no, screw that.
You're not even using...
It shouldn't be buy.
It's not even the word buy.
But we've been saying this for 20 years. You're not actually buying it. You're just obtaining a license for this point in time.
It's a very restricted license. Yes. And it's not that different from the license you receive when you rent something. Just the term is slightly longer.
I can't tell you how upset my father was was years ago when he had bought stuff on iTunes, and then when it came out, when they took it out of their catalog and he couldn't get it anymore, he couldn't download
vanished
it
for him, I'm sure.
And I tried to explain to him that you already had to have downloaded it. He didn't appreciate that. He didn't appreciate that he had to already have had it to have a license.
He shouldn't have had to.
Exactly.
He paid for it.
Yeah, that's a mess. But what I'm talking about on the copyright holders in the past, I'm being a little cutesy here. We've extended copyright for lots of copyright holders retroactively. So we've made it better for them, and they would not want to give those rights up.
I'm personally of the view that we should just ball up the whole copyright and throw it in the trash.
Now we agree on something.
Individually license what it is you want to license. If you want to write a book, go ahead and write a little thing in the beginning that tells the person who's purchasing this copy of your book
sure that's better.
what it is they're purchasing.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's
Just like the movie studios are doing with the movies.
Maybe. I'm not sure that's better, but maybe.
It's much better.
No, because now how do you navigate
And then if I
that?
want to give you the right for you to put it in the AI, I'll grant you explicitly the right to put it in the AI. If I don't, I'll say this can't go into any AI.
I think about how hard it is right now in things that are under copyright to clear licenses, especially with music. And the world you just described is going to make that 2-3 orders of magnitude harder.
Because you'll have to negotiate everything individually because everything will have its own individual license. But I don't want you to put this into AI. I don't want you to do this with my project or this with my...
Sure.
So I need to specify that. Because the copyright system where we tried to have one size fits all didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Doesn't work. Still to this day doesn't work. Even if you take out the AI problem.
For the vast majority of it works. I'd say it works in most all the use cases.
No, it doesn't work for a lot of things.
I agree it doesn't work for a lot of things, but for the vast majority it does.
Obviously, it's not working for motion pictures because they're not using it. They are giving you their own license.
I don't know how that works.
Go look at what happens when you quote unquote buy a film.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with what U.S. copyright law is. It's their own license.
But they still have the benefit of copyright protection. They are selling you a license.
They do, but they have additional protections because what they're selling you
is additional layer on top of that.
Is a license that explicitly tells you what you're allowed to do and not do.
You want the total body of work to be available. You don't want it to go away. And I think we're starting to see that now. And I think that is worse for the world was when those works
Maybe
go
I'm
away.
the Wu-Tang Clan and I do want it to go away. I want Martin Shkreli to listen to it and then I want the whole thing to go away.
That's an interesting, you bring up that counterpoint. That's interesting. That wasn't really publicly available. But I'm not saying, like, that one is a little gray to me where you go, well, there's this one thing. Yeah. There is this one thing. And I'm like, all right.
They put out a very specific license.
And you want to scale that up.
And he violated it.
Yeah.
A very clear, specific license, and the guy who licensed it violated it, almost immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's Shkreli. There you go.
Lovely human. Okay, enough with the headlines. In fact, enough with the episode. We have to get out of here. Special thanks to our floor director, Jeff Veer.
Thanks, Boinger.
We'll be back later this week with our big story, the audacious undersea spying that tapped into the phones of the USSR. Until then, thank you for listening to all this nonsense. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Skittle.
Ciao, ciao.
I'm even more hungry now.
Introducing the IC chip. It's not just a chip, it's a revolution. A single tiny slice of silicon that holds thousands of electronic components. The tangled messes of wires and bulky vacuum tubes, gone. Engineered by the visionary minds of Jack Kilby of Texas Instruments and Robert Noyce of Fairchild Semiconductor, this invention is more than an advancement. It's the future. And where will you find this first powerful piece of progress? The Micro Module, a military computer specifically designed for missile guidance. It was a breakthrough in miniaturization, but it was still a complex system of interconnected components. Our IC chip has now made that system smaller, faster, and more reliable than anyone thought possible. The future of electronics is here. The IC chip, get on board or get left behind. This is not an actual ad.
No.
This is just a moment in time when something happened.
But also specifically for a device that also makes me think of food. So I'm glad we've continued with that.
Which device makes you think of food?
The IC chip.
Oh, the
I'm
IC
thinking about
chip.
guacamole. Why are you doing this to me?
Now you want some chips.
Yes.
Sure. Get yourself some nice
count
chips.
down the hours until I got to go under the scope. When I hear you read this, I do think of the sort of meme of 4 kilobytes got us to the moon.
Yeah, sure.
And meanwhile, my machine is using 16 gigabytes of memory because Excel has a dialogue open somewhere. Like that's basically the world that we're in. And like I get it, memory is cheaper now, but man, that seems wasteful to me.
So much of what our processing is just to make it easier on us humans, for the interface to humans.
Which it took me a long time as a software developer to get to the point where I realized that was not only okay,
it's important,
but the better thing.
Yeah.
It's the better thing, arguably.
Of course.
Because what's the point? Like you could sit there and I could move this algorithm into a assembly and save some clock cycles, but I'm trading my time for the chip's time, and that's not what you want to do.
And you're not going to want to hear this, but that's what vibe coding is going to do.
Oh, for sure.
Save you a lot of time.
For sure. It is 100% that part 2 or part 3, I guess. That is it, right? Microcode to assembly to a high level language to vibe coding, and we are all cooked.
Oh, no. We're all in great shape. It's going to be a wonderful world. Okay, listen, you have dodged this question long enough. enough. I need to know the year. Actually, there are 2 years represented here.
2 years.
You can give me either one. I'm happy for you to give me either one.
Yeah, what's the ask? Year for what?
I need the year of this ad. What would this fictitious ad? When would this ad have existed?
Oh, that's easy.
What are we?
Okay. 2022.
Big no.
You're talking about like the integrated circuit.
Yes.
Okay. I know it predates Intel. Intel was the late 60s.
Yeah.
So this has got to, I don't think it was as far back as World War II, post World War II, because we were still like ENIAC was vacuum tubes. That was the 50s, mid-ish 50s.
Robert Noyce was still with Fairchild Semiconductor. That's a big hint.
Yeah. So I'm going to guess early 60s, maybe like at the latest mid 60s, 65. I'm going to say 63 to 65, somewhere in there.
Okay.
That's my window.
Do you want to know the actuals?
Well, yeah, I don't want to live around in ignorance like I already do.
We do that every day. I don't know.
Am I even close? Anything. I have to be somewhat close.
Mid 60s. No, here's the deal. And this is the kind of the impressive thing to me was how early this happened.
Yeah.
Jack Kilby demonstrated the first working integrated circuits at Texas Instruments in September of 1958.
Wow, really?
Isn't that impressive?
That's super, because ENIAC was what, 53, 54?
ENIAC 1945.
I thought ENIAC was way later than that. It was in operation until 1955. I thought it was a much shorter period of time that it lived.
Robert Noyce, Fairchild Semiconductor, independently developed his own version of the IC in 1959. So what happened was obviously we had whatever technical things we needed to overcome so we could eventually make an integrated circuit. And those things came before 1958. And both of them were able to create integrated circuits in 1958 and 1959.
This is fascinating. Yeah. Also, names we don't hear enough. Texas Instruments and Fairchild Semiconductor.
Always a good reminder why you should not invest in technology, because you just never know the future with those stocks.
Right.
There's no way you can tell. Wang Computers. Man, there was a time when I was younger when Wang Computers were everywhere.
That's a name I haven't heard in a hot minute.
Find a Wang computer now. It's just not possible. They were the undisputed leader.
Yeah,
the Wangs were everywhere. You have no way of knowing who's going to be the winners and who's going to be the losers ahead of time. You look now at Intel, and you and I look at Intel and we think, oh, they really missed the boat with extreme ultraviolet lithography. They'll never be able to catch up. And then some engineer there figures out something, and they will be able to catch up or not. I mean, it's just a matter of do they get lucky or not.
I like your alternate outcome.
So yeah, 1958, 1959.